Hi, and welcome to Michigan Matters. Inforum is a 60-plus-year-old organization helping women excel in business. It has a new leader as Donna Murray-Brown returned to Detroit to take it over. We'll talk to her today about her plans. Then the roundtable dives in as we focus on assisting more young people as they try to get ready for college. It's a show about helping women in business and young people as they look to the future. Let's get started.
From CBS Detroit, this is Michigan Matters with Carol Kane. Michigan Matters is brought to you in part by Cure Auto Insurance.
And we're joined by Donna Murray-Brown, who came back home to the Motor City to take over Inforum, which is dedicated to helping women in business and society. Welcome home.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be home.
Well,
it really is.
And it's great to have you back here. So, and you're going to be taking over Inforum.
Yes.
So what's it like being home, number one?
Being home is amazing. You're around people who knew you when, right? From high school, from elementary school. It's just amazing seeing my old friends and family. It's wonderful.
Your background is in corporate America and also running nonprofits.
It is.
And you also were involved with Inforum before you left Detroit to go down. I think you were in Alabama?
Actually, Kentucky.
Kentucky. Okay.
Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, but so you came back here. So as you look to Inforum, which has been around since 1962, what's your game plan for the organization?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Inforum is wildly successful already on its own, right? And so this is not about caretaking that, though. It's also thinking about what's happening currently in the environment now. What does the moment call for Inforum? And so I've been meeting with a lot of different stakeholders, believe it or not. In just the last few weeks of taking the helm here, I've spoken to over almost 230 people talking about that. And what I really think is what's the next step is really digging deeper and making certain we can create change for over a generation is what I'm looking at, making certain that women can be on parity with men as they are in their corporate lives and on all levels of their career.
And Terry Barkley, who was your predecessor,
Yes.
who retired from this, have you been talking with her about things too? Is she?
We are going to be talking soon, I'm sure, and I have known Terry all the while since she's been in for. So I've watched from afar, and I'm looking forward for our chat and learning from her. I can't wait to have that meeting. Yeah.
So we're here and we're kicking off March, which is Women's History Month.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say women are doing pretty gosh darn well right now. They're making inroads, and organizations like yours may not be needed. What do you say to those folks?
I say we can't rest on our laurels. It's absolutely right that we have built momentum. But I also need to share that momentum is a bit fragile still. And so there is much room for improvement, so we can't stop now. And so this is the moment that we really, really begin to press down and continue making progress. It's important for Michigan's economy, for us to be competitive. This work that Inforum does is important now more than ever.
You and I had a chance to talk a little bit before about some of these issues. And you talk about young women, particularly in corporate America, starting out and that being a focal point. And talk a little bit about how you see Inforum being able to assist there.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, women and men start off at the workforce pretty much at the same rate. For women at 48%, men at 52%. But then it's that next promotion, which is manager. And that's where we see that it starts to be different, the experience for women different. And so in this moment, for making certain that younger women that are coming into the workforce, have these informal networks that we know are very, very important to your career trajectory, that making certain that Inforum can provide that opportunity for connection and also to build skills as well alongside the companies where these women work.
How much do you think it has to do with, the stereotypical view of genders and their roles? And you have young women who maybe are getting married and having kids, and they're being pulled off to do more family things. That's not to say that men and dads don't do lots of stuff too.
Absolutely.
But in the traditional, does that play into this at all?
I think in some ways, and speaking to those that are kind of in that group, they are looking towards families, but much further along than perhaps one would expect. Yeah. I think what is really important for them is to be able to learn from those women who have been in their roles for some time to kind of be able to navigate with some confidence, really. And so I think that's what they're really looking for, is that kind of support.
Well, and the organization, which started in 1962, that was the genesis. Women were just getting into the workforce, and a group of women, I don't know how many, I think it was a dozen.
23.
There we go. Thank you for that number. 23 women got together because they were looking for ways to support support each other and mentor each other and the such. And that's where it started. It was the Women's Economic Club.
That's right.
And when Terry came on board,
Right.
one of the first things she did was change the name to Inforum, which at the time I remember telling her I thought was interesting name. That was confusing, but anyway, it's not like a bird. But anyway, I mean, Inforum has done so well since then. How many members do you have today and corporate members?
Yeah, 6,000 individual members. More than 120 corporate partners that we have across the state. And I would subscribe to you, we're growing. We're growing. So this is exciting, a very exciting time right now.
And I want to talk a little bit more about the organization and your plans because you're here, you're settling in here. What comes next? Hold that thought. We're back with more conversation right after this. Welcome back. We're talking with Donna Murray-Brown, who is now President CEO of Inforum, a new job she just took over. And one of the things that Inforum has done, they work with the Mike Ilitch School of Business and doing a survey of public companies across Michigan. Of my numbers, I think there were 83 companies in this and sharing data about this.
Right.
They talk about the C-suite or corporate suite, the top jobs, the CEO, president, CIO, these type of jobs here. You also have worked in corporate America yourself, and you've been a champion and mentored young people as well. How do you think women are faring in the C-suite in general?
So in general, in the C-suite, we're seeing some progress. I mean, since we started tracking and doing the report back in the early 2000s, like 2002, there were single digits when we're thinking about percentages of women holding these seats at the chief level or executive level seats. Now we're making some movement, but again, we don't want to, celebrate here. We want to continue the momentum. But thinking about women in CEO or chief roles now, it's really just 23%. So compared
to... Well, the numbers have actually, even in terms of corporate board, this is a whole nother ball of wax here. Corporate boards of these big companies. Well, I believe the numbers went back a little bit. I think I vaguely remember this.
26% now, but it's starting to come back a bit. Actually, it dropped 40% even since 2022.
Wow.
So this kind of is an indicator that we got to keep momentum. Yeah.
Which kind of defies logic because all the statistical, quantifiable revenue sales, when you look at companies that have representatives on their boards. Of the general population, be they women, African Americans, whatever, those companies do better.
They do better. Absolutely.
So you would think this would not be that hard to sell, yet it seems to be.
It seems to be, and I think it is that the awareness piece of what it can be, and really as we talked about at the very beginning, where that broken rung is what we call it. When that happens, just making certain that corporations are understanding that, have awareness, and have the proper mechanisms to mitigate that.
Yeah. We're just Women's History Month is starting. Black History Month just wrapped up here. I want to ask you, I believe that you had an opportunity to meet Reverend Jesse Jackson, who passed away a few weeks ago here.
I did.
And certainly the civil legend, icon, I don't know how many more adjectives I can add to it. But, but you met him, and
I did.
What do you think his impact will be?
I think his impact, I think one of the sayings he's always said, and I think people just say it all the time, is keep hope alive. And I think when you think about that, keeping it alive means that it's action that's required. It's not something that's static. It's really something around having a vision for something and then acting towards that. And so that's what I plan to think about as I lead Inforum. And I think people across the communities that I've been talking to and they are also thinking about that, about hope.
When Terry took over Inforum, it was a Detroit-based group. It expanded into statewide. There's big representation on the west side of the state here. You're now stepping into this role. Do you have growth plans to do other things beyond where the organization is right now?
Absolutely. So Michigan's a big state. You're right. We're in the southeast Michigan in terms of offices and west Michigan in terms of a huge presence. But we have the rest of the state to take a look at as well. And so we've always been available and open to them. And I also think the secret sauce of Inforum can go to other states as well.
Are you talking to anybody specifically
People are calling me about it now. So I think there's some strong possibilities around how we can expand our secret sauce of how to work and advance and support women in the workplace in other states.
When they call you and they say, can you help, what is it they're looking help with? Is it to try to find a way to bridge the gap with corporate America to get information?
Yeah.
Or how you got research going in these areas? Or what are they looking for?
I think it's about research. I also think it's about how do you create these these structured informal connections as we have with our affinity groups, but they're also looking at our industry group infrastructure. So having different sectors actually meet, whether they're competitors or not, but they're women in the same role, that power of peer connection is magic, and they want that. And so they're asking, how can we get that in our state?
What I know, one of the other things that Inforum does is it holds meetings and get-togethers. You have a meeting coming up in Grand Rapids, April 23rd, and then Detroit,
Yes.
I think it's April 23rd. Is this the big annual meeting, or are these just next infinity groups, or what are they?
So it's think of it as it's called Inner Circle.
Inner Circle.
So Inner Circle takes women that have been in the inner circle, if you will, of corporate America and the respective areas as civic leaders, and bringing that knowledge to bear in an informal dinner with others who can listen and learn and ask any questions that they might have with these individuals. So it's a really special moment, I think, that we've curated and created for women to learn from other women. So it's wonderful.
If somebody's watching this who's not an Inforum member, can they attend this?
Absolutely. I want them to. Think about it. This is a wonderful opportunity, whether you're a member or not, or a member yet to be. This is an opportunity for you to really get questions asked and to really be around people that you probably always wanted to meet but never had the opportunity.
Well, and I know you have information on your website, right?
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
Inforum.com.
.org.
Inforum.org.
That's it.
Donna, thank you so much. Great to have you back in
Thank
town.
you.
Look forward to
It's
keeping
great.
it. We'll talk. And I know you have your new report coming up in a couple
Yes.
weeks, couple months here, so we'll maybe have you back, talk about the results of that to see how our Michigan companies doing.
Absolutely. Be glad to.
Thanks so much. And keep it
Thank
right
you.
there. We're back with more Michigan Matters. And welcome back to Michigan Matters. The roundtable's here as we're joined by Krista Funk, who runs the Detroit Regional Dollars for Scholars. Lisa Howes, people recognize her, business political leader. She is motivational speaker, author, and helping to mentor young people in educational pursuits. And Taylor Smith, a DRDFS, that's a hard thing to say, scholar, who is here. It's great to have you ladies all here talking about something so important, and that's getting a college education here. And Krista, let me start with you. Your organization, the Genesis, when did it start and what is its mission today?
Yes, well, thanks for having us. So Detroit Regional Dollars for Scholars was founded back in 1990 by William C. Young and a few of his neighbors that just really wanted to make sure that students across his neighborhood at the time had the opportunity and all the different possibilities in their minds about going to higher education. And so ever since then, we've been expanding. We're at 16 high school partners across the 5 counties of Southeast Michigan, serving about 1,000 students on an annual basis.
This is all high school students, right?
No, so we start sophomore year in high school, and then we stick with students until they graduate from post-secondary education.
Okay, and Lisa, gosh, you were a state rep. You worked for the previous mayor. You're an accountant by training. You've written books. You were the first in your family also to go to college. I understand this, correct?
Yes. When I entered the University of Michigan as a first-generation college student, I fit every risk category that you can name. Female, black, low-income family. Statistically, I was not supposed to graduate, but never in my mind did I think it wasn't possible. And so rather than believing somebody else's limited expectations of what was possible for me, I viewed life through the lens of boundless possibility. And that's the mindset that I want young people to have.
And speaking of young people, the youngest person at the table here, Taylor, you're a high school senior?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're what high school?
Glendale High School.
Okay, so getting a college degree is something that is obviously important here. Why is it important to you?
It's important to me because I want to be an engineer, and I feel that having a degree is very important in that field because you have to know what you're doing, and it's also something that I can have to make my parents proud because
You want to be an engineer, and do you want to stay in Detroit and work for one of the auto companies, or do you have a path planned, or?
I'm still building that path as I go into high school, and hopefully I have it figured out by next fall.
Okay. And Chris, I know Krista, one of the things that your organization does, you are kind of like a catalyst within corporations and organizations here and helping with all of this. What kinds of help do they provide? I mean, how does this roll?
Yeah, so we have a really holistic program. So starting sophomore year in high school, we're looking to inspire students to see the different opportunities for their future, get them onto different college campuses, just see what's possible. A lot of the students that we work with haven't been to a college until they're with us there that day, and so visualizing yourself there makes such a big difference. But all throughout the time in the program, we do SAT prep, we do leadership and etiquette training. We do a lot of financial literacy work, trying to talk about what's a reach, what's a match, what's a safety school, what's a scholarship, what's a grant. We work primarily with first-generation college students, and so all of those questions, you just don't know what you don't know. And so that whole time we're sticking with them, we're reviewing award letters with them, helping students make those college decisions. And then all throughout their time in higher ed, we're that trusted partner, that phone call, when you are unsure about something, and we really connect students to the right places on campus.
At least as someone who walked down this path before there was the organization here, what's the hardest part of this as you go through this? What's the hardest part of saying, I want to go to college, I want to get this degree, and so forth, when you don't necessarily know what you don't know, as you say?
Right. The hardest part is entering in a new environment where you're no longer just the top of your class. You're competing against students who are also at the top of their class. But what's so important about that is you get to build those relationships, network, and start to create a community of support. Because when you're off at college, you can't succeed alone. They say if you want to go far, go alone. But if you want to go far and fast, then go as a team. And so that's important.
And Taylor, I won't ask you how old you are, but I will. How old are you? I'm the only person at the table I'll ask you. So.
I'm 17 years old.
Okay. So amongst your friends, is this a conversation you have with each other, or are you the exception amongst your group, or?
We do have conversations regarding to, building up together and going far together. We wish to see each other succeed and hopefully reconnect and
Go on. Do you know what college you want to go to? Have you?
University of Michigan in Ann Arbor.
Lisa's going to help you there, right?
Blue?
She's wearing blue. Speaking of blue, we're going to take a quick break here, and we will be back with a little bit more Michigan Matters in the conversation right after this. Welcome back to Michigan Matters. We're talking to Krista Funk of Detroit Regional Dollars for Scholars, business political leader Lisa Howes, and rising star Taylor Smith about education, looking for opportunities here. And Krista, I'm just curious, with this organization, you mentioned with 16 high schools. Are they all over Metro Detroit? Is it all in Detroit, or where are the schools located?
Yeah, we're all across Metro Detroit, so the 5 counties of southeast Michigan, and the schools are spread out. For the south is probably Mason High School in Monroe County, and for this north, it might be Clintondale High School and out towards Ypsilanti as well.
So the students are at these 16 schools. They apply to be part of this program. Is it automatic you want to be in and you're in it, or do you have to apply for it?
Yep, so students apply in their sophomore year of high school. We obviously, have a lot of people that are excited about it, so unfortunately we can't take everyone in the program. It's a small cohort-based model, so about 10 to 12 students at each high school in each grade.
And Taylor, how did you find out about the organization?
I found out through my counselor, Miss Carroll. She came into our classroom one day and she gave a presentation, and it sounded like something I would be really interested in, so I applied. And I got in.
And here you are.
Yeah.
You're launching a great career here. Well, I'm curious. You're going to be speaking at a luncheon on March 11th. The two of you are going to be speaking at this and sharing inspiring words about your journey and inspiring other audience people about this. And Lisa, what's going to be your message when you speak to? I know you do this for a living, but in this particular audience, what are you going to be imparting?
Yes. So my message is simple. Finish what you start. We often talk about college access. That's just the beginning. But the real beginning is when we talk about commencement. Commencement starts after finishing. And so access gets students in the door, but the support that they receive from organizations like Dollars for Scholars is what helps them to cross the stage. So.
And Taylor, you're also going to be speaking. What's going to be your message?
My message is that opportunity paired with a support system can really make a person the best version of themselves. And I hope that it does get across to a lot of people because it's very much needed at this time.
Krista, when someone does get in the program and then they go off to college here, what is your role of the organization once they get into University of Michigan, as Taylor will be? What is the organization's role at that point?
Yeah, so we have college success coaches that stick with students their senior year while they're making those decisions, and then really intrusive advising their first year of higher education. And then we don't give up very easily on anyone, and so we stick around making sure that students can connect with us. We show up on college campuses. You know, we meet all the time with students as they persist until they graduate. We've also got things like a Scholar Success Fund. So, you know, when those unexpected expenses come up, like a book that you weren't expecting or you know, food or housing that you need some extra funds for, we're able to step in and make sure students can have those gaps filled.
And Lisa, you're also going to be speaking about your story. I know you're very entrepreneurial. You and I have talked in the past about this. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think you sold candy in high school to help raise money to go to school. Is this right? Is that my memory serving me accurate here?
Absolutely. I started off with a $13 box of M&Ms, turned it into more than $4,000 by the time I finished high school, and then used that money to help pay for my first semester at the University of Michigan.
Wow. Wow. You're the only person besides Dan Gilbert who has had that same story. He also was selling candy in his neighborhood. He had the neighborhood friends there, David Carroll and some others, out selling candy. They'd buy a box for like $2 and sell it for $3 or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. It's the best thing to be able to start off with something that isn't enough and then turn it into more than enough. Is very empowering.
As someone, again, who's taken this journey and done it, I'm sure there were times you wanted to quit or saying, I can't do this, it's too much, whatever. How do you keep at it? How do you keep a young person motivated here?
Well, the first thing is when coming into the university, I had a North Star, and that was the business school. So the North Star for you, Taylor, for example, is to decide where it is that you want to go and make sure that you have a plan and trust and believe. Challenges are going to come. That's a part of the process. But you must decide who you're going to be and then ultimately who you're going to become. And that is someone who finishes what she starts.
Wow. And Krista, as an organization, I know that the organization was started some years ago. Like many of the nonprofits, are you looking for support? Are you looking for financial resources? Are you looking for sponsors? Are you looking for companies? Where do you stand in all of this?
Yeah, all of the above. So our celebration luncheon, where both of them will be speaking, is our biggest fundraiser of the year. So, you know, we'd love to have the support on March 11th to join us. But yeah, we're always looking for great connections to the university partners that we have, sending students to, and you know, always looking for more donations.
We hear so much about the state of education here, how young people reading test scores, and Michigan's falling behind the curve on all of this going here. Do you think we're doing enough in terms of supporting education here?
I think that we definitely, there are partners who can come alongside of schools to make sure, because there's never enough assistance in this area. And I've taken the personal responsibility to mentor 12 students from across the country who are college leaders. And so everybody has a role to play. And through the Courageous Growth Mindset framework, that is something that is helping students to persist so that they can complete their education in the end.
And Taylor, you two are going to be inspiring other young people here, and you want to help them get along their way too, on their path that they're going to go to, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there's so much more to say about it, but here's what I know. I'm looking forward to this March 11th luncheon to hear what you folks are going to have to say here at the luncheon, and I appreciate you all being here. And again, the website, if someone wants more information.
Yep, so drdfs.org, so Detroit Regional Dollars for Scholars.
That'll be the last word. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having
And thanks to you at home for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next Sunday for a little bit more Michigan Matters.